This program is sponsored by Dave Stahl. It's time to get educated on your Second Amendment rights. Welcome to 2 full hours of Gun Owners Radio. Your hosts Dave Stahl, Joe Dramisi, and Michael Schwartz will teach you about firearms, self-defense, and the laws that affect your rights to keep and bear arms. Visit gunownersradio.com with questions to learn how to become a sponsor of Gun Owners Radio and get involved. Together, we will win. Now here's your hosts, Dave Stahl, Joe Dramisi, and Michael Schwartz on The Answer San Diego.
All right, folks, welcome to Gun Owners Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
California assault weapon law makes it almost impossible to own an AR pattern rifle. What's the solution? Cali Key. Convert any mil-spec direct impingement AR pattern rifle into a straight pull bolt action rifle so it can have all the features without being considered an assault weapon. It's a true drop-in solution, no milling, no aesthetic modifications, and no turning off your gas systems. Keep your entire AR collection intact at a price you can afford with Cali Key. Check out Cali Key at calikey.com. That's KALIKEY.com. Hey, if you have a legal matter that involves anything gun-related, call the Dillon Law Group. Attorney John Dillon, red flag laws, gun registration, gun transportation, storage. Call our trusted firearms attorney, John Dillon, at 760-642-7150, 760-642-7150, or visit the website at Dillon Law Group or lawgp.com, DillonLawGP.com. Let John Dillon do the gunning for you. All right. What do you got for us today?
So we just did another amazing shooting social yesterday. We've been doing these shooting socials on and off ever since our beginning, actually. And it went really, really well. We had 20 brand new shooters. We did it at Poway Weapons and Gear. And it was fantastic. We had 20 mentors, which are, experienced shooters that are usually members of San Diego County Gun Owners. In fact, they all are. And we taught 20 new students. Joe, it was amazing. You've done the shooting socials with us.
Yeah, those things are great, and I'm really happy to see that we're putting them out there again, and lots of people are signing up for them because we slowed down for a little bit, but it's nice to see them back.
We did. A lot of the bandwidth that we were, a lot of the activity and time that we were doing, that we were spending on shooting socials kind of got taken over by the CCW seminars. Those heated up and got real popular. And we had a couple of shooting socials the last month, and one actually canceled. And they said, hey, you know what? We thought we could get it organized, but we couldn't. So we just put it out there to the general membership and said, hey, does anybody know anybody who's new? Maybe they've never shot before in their whole life, and they want an experience that's safe and educational, and boom, we filled up. And now we have like 4 on the calendar. And it just went gangbusters, went through the roof. So they're back and better than ever.
Well, I think, again, with all the new shooters coming on board, they're looking for a place to go. And I think the socials that you put together are a perfect venue where somebody can come, first-time shooter, not feel embarrassed, not feel obligated. I think it's perfect.
It is. And we're a political organization. San Diego County Gun Owners, we're a political organization. We're not really an educational organization. That's not really our main focus, but it gives our members, most of our members are comfortable teaching new shooters. That's something that they're really good at. It's something that they have a passion for, and it helps us spread the word. It helps us grow the organization and raise awareness. So we've embraced it wholeheartedly, and we love it. It's been great.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic, and there's still opportunities to go to Gun Prom. I know it's a shameless plug, but I think for folks that first-time shooters, if you want to be around like-minded people, and you'll be really impressed as to who will show up.
Yeah.
You'll see politicians. You'll see law enforcement. You'll see
radio personalities.
Yeah, radio personalities. Dentists, doctors, lawyers, gardeners, landscapers. I mean, every walk of life comes to the Gun Prom, and they love it.
Well, no, I've got a couple at my table now that are brand new just because of everything that's happened the last the last couple of months, the husband now got the word that it's okay for him to buy a gun. So I invited both of them to the gun prom, so they'll both be there at our table. So
that's
it's a good way to find out about who is really in the gun community. Because, like I was saying, when I first started, I had this idea of what it was going to be or what people were going to be like, somewhere between Duck Dynasty and Rambo. Yeah. And not that way at all. Yeah, so, lots of people think that way. So the gun prom's a good place to dispel that.
And this is pretty much it. This is the last week to buy tickets.
That's right. Yeah,
we got to get the final count in. So if you're listening to this, go to gunprom.com, buy your ticket today. Yes, it's happening.
For as little as how much a ticket?
$99 a ticket. It's normally $150, but we had an early bird special and we decided to just keep it all the way to the end.
It's a meal.
It's a meal. It includes entertainment. It includes your entry into the venue, and we're gonna have all kinds of fun and entertainment, and it'll be really great. There's prizes.
It's another social.
Very social, yeah. And it's there'll be prizes, and there'll be live auctions and silent auctions, all kinds of
And it's
fun.
at the Town and Country, and not only do they have an indoor venue, but they also have an outdoor venue. We'll be able to utilize both. So if you do have any concerns at all, you can go either indoors or outdoors.
No, it's outdoors.
We will be
all
outdoors.
It's all outdoors. Yeah, they have a big outdoor area that's big enough to accommodate 1,500 people.
Gotcha.
So we have plenty of space.
Oh, I didn't realize it was all outdoors.
Yeah, and we've sold over 700. I can't remember the exact count, but we're over 700 tickets.
Well, you just got 8 today.
Yeah, exactly.
708.
But you got to come. It's a lot of fun. Especially there was another happening in La Mesa yesterday. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, there was another big demonstration. 600 law enforcement officers this time. 600.
Yeah, they were prepared for this time.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, is a good. Well, nothing happened. I mean, there was one arrest.
Is that coincidence, you think? Or
by the way, there was one arrest.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the BLM side. It was the other side.
Really?
Yeah, it was the other side taunting and actually got physical with the BLM folks, and they arrested him. So there was one arrest, and it wasn't BLM. It was the other side.
I'll be darned.
He showed up just to mess with and provoke BLM, and he got arrested. There were multiple agencies. Sheriff, La Mesa PD, Harbor. I saw Chula Vista PD.
Did you go?
I didn't go, but I was watching the
news.
I wanted to put a shirt on. I was trying to figure out like I was going to make a sign that said something like "No dog in this fight" and just stand there or something. You know what I mean? Or like free hugs.
Yeah, that would have gone over real bit. But wear your mask.
That was the other thing. It was so ridiculous. So I watched all the live feed, and it just cracked me up how many people showed up at a riot with a mask. Yeah, and I'm like, come on, you want to be safe at the riot,
Right,
so ridiculous.
I thought riots were safe from COVID. Yeah. You didn't need a mask there.
If you want to be safe, don't go to a riot.
Yeah,
it's so ridiculous.
But Vachi said it's okay. He says it's not a problem. I mean, I don't make that determination. So,
but they did well. Honestly, I think the whole thing's ridiculous. I think every side of that is ridiculous. I think that. We actually had we got contacted Friday because La Mesa said, hey, in this zone, in this particular zone, and they had provided a map, no weapons of any kind, and they included firearms. And at first, well, wait a minute. What do you mean no firearms? You guys don't have the authority to do that. Mm-hmm. It could be unconstitutional. It could go against the preemption laws for the state. But upon closer inspection, we actually got contacted by media. And upon closer inspection, the map was City Hall and the police station.
Where you can't do it anyway.
Can't do it anyway. So, honestly, I think there's a lot of blame to be doled out. Yeah, I think La Mesa is just from day one has treated this thing really sloppily. Now, that does not excuse the rioters. No. And not at all, not even kinda.
No.
But from the get-go, this thing's been a little sloppily handled. Right. But yesterday, 600 cops. I think there were 200 civilians that were assisting the cops, from what I understand.
How many protesters? 3?
And I think the protesters were in the hundreds. And there was a lot of shouting, and there was a lot of yelling, and there were a couple of shoving matches, but for the most part, one person got arrested and everybody went home.
And La Mesa was ready.
And La Mesa didn't.
They were ready this time.
Yeah, and I do. So in our next segment, we have a really great show, by the way. Our next segment is actually Sheriff Gore. So we're going to talk to Sheriff Gore. I want to ask him just real quick. I want to touch on what happened yesterday in La Mesa and see what his perspective is. But then we're going to talk about CCWs because we still get questions about CCW. Yeah. Is this real? Are they really issuing?
And he's the man to ask that question to.
He's the decider.
All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. You are listening to Gun Owners Radio on FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
There's more Gun Owners Radio with Dave, Joe, and Michael to come on The Answer San Diego. Welcome back to Gun Owners Radio, educating you on your Second Amendment rights. Now, here are your hosts of Gun Owners Radio, Dave Stahl, Joe Germisi, and Michael Schwartz on The Answer San Diego.
All right, folks, welcome back to Gun Owners Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Hey, what's the best defense for self-defense and those horrible new red flag laws? Firearms legal protection. Mike and Joe and I use them. Firearms Legal Protection is the legal defense program for lawful gun owners for the 24/7 emergency hotline and plans designed specifically for the firearms owner. Call Firearms Legal Protection today. That's Firearms Legal Protection at firearmslegal.com. Or you can call them direct at 469-310-9100, 469-310-9100. Hey, did you hear home mortgage interest rates have dropped? And if you're looking to buy or refi, or if you're considering a reverse mortgage, call the local mortgage guy that you could trust. Call Chris Wiley at PRMI Mortgage for nearly 25 years. Chris has been helping local San Diegans with all their mortgage needs. Call Chris Wiley at 619-722-1303 or just go to primeres.com/Alpine. Well, unfortunately, Sheriff Gore has not called in as yet. I did hear a police car go by with a siren, so he might be on a call.
Maybe he will. He confirmed on Friday, and he was real excited about it. And really what we were going to talk to him about is the CCW program in San Diego. So maybe we should just chat a little bit about that and talk about how things have changed and changed for the better. And it was something that everyone said wasn't going to happen, but it happened. So if you're listening and you haven't gotten your CCW yet, now is the time. They are issuing. What are they issuing? Like 100.
Yeah, it was up. What was it up to? 4167, I think, was the number of permits issued last month, or up to last month. And then this month was a little bit slow, but I think because of the COVID stuff and the transitioning onto the software and everything, it slowed down a little bit.
But it's 100, 120 a month, something like that, right?
Typically about 120 a month. Yeah, it was a little bit less this past month, but I think that was the issue.
Before it was like 2 or 3 a month. If you were lucky.
It was that, yeah.
Before the changes, there were 1,100 issued total, and now there are over 4,000 just 3 years later.
Well, and you have to say too, I mean, the sheriffs have done a really good job, because I know there was a lot of concern that, okay, when they gave the okay that they were going to, go back on it maybe, or renege on the, that process and not really be enthusiastic about it. But it looks like they've been great with it, though. I mean, they're doing a really good job. They're really helpful. If you go down there, the clerks and the people that work at the sheriff's office are really good about it. So they've really embraced it. So I think it's going real well.
They are. They're very proud of it. They are very enthusiastic and super helpful. I will say one of the more common questions I'm getting is people are saying, hey, if you go to the sheriff's website, it says that they're closed. They're not processing. And that is just not true. If you read the sheriff's website about COVID-19, what it says is that they are closed to just walk-ins, right. The licensing department. So you can't just show up one day. You have to have a prior appointment. So you go through the computer system. It's called Permitium. You apply. You upload all your documentation, which the documentation is fairly easy and pretty straightforward now, and they start processing your CCW. And then they give you a date, and you come in by appointment. But don't be confused about their COVID-19 messaging. All it's saying is that the licensing department is closed to walk-ins, people without an appointment.
And all government agencies are doing that. My father-in-law or my mother-in-law needed to get her license. and she freaked out because they said they were closed.
Yeah.
But they're not closed. It's by appointment only, and you got to fill out a bunch of paperwork online, and it'll happen.
Right.
Yeah, and the process is pretty easy too. I just did my renewal, and the appointment process is not difficult at all. The permitium stuff is really pretty straightforward. When you go there, because it's by appointment only, the sheriffs at the door will check your name on the list, and if they'll verify that you're on the list, and
Before
they let you in there. Yeah, and then you go in, and the waiting room area is all kind of blocked off. The chairs and the places where you can sit, the benches are all taped off so that everybody, if there were more people in there, I think when I went there was 2 of us or something.
It's like a restaurant.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. But it went really well. The renewal really did take less than 10 minutes when I went in there. So yeah, the system works pretty well.
Less than 10 minutes?
Less than 10 minutes.
Did you have to take a test?
No, you just do everything online, and the actual in the office part is literally less than 10 minutes.
How long did it take you online?
Not really that long, because you have to upload all your stuff. So if you read it ahead of time, you copy all your stuff ahead of time.
What's all your stuff?
Proof of address, your qualification certificate that you get from the instructor, your good cause statement. So they give you a whole list of things. There's 7 or 8 things you need. And you just copy them, you upload them. It's I'm not a real enthusiastic computer guy.
I could tell.
And it's odd that I make most of my living through a computer, but but no, it was really easy, really straightforward, and not a problem at all.
So for people that are thinking about doing it and maybe they need to budget it, what kind of a cost factor are we looking at?
Do you remember the cost?
It's about, so your first appointment to apply, it's about $106.
Okay.
To take your class, you're gonna spend between $200 and $300,
depending on who you go.
Depending on who you go to and what's involved. Remember, your class is an 8-hour class. If someone says, "Oh, we'll get you done in 6 hours," hang up the phone. Don't talk to that person. They are breaking the law, and they will get you in trouble.
Right.
It is an 8-hour class minimum. So $300, depending on who you see and what the class is like. And then when you pick up your permit, it's another $51. So all in, you're looking at $350, maybe $400.
See, I heard it was over 1,000.
No, never has it been over 1,000.
So somebody was lying.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Does that include buying a gun?
I don't know. I mean, I had talked to somebody a while back, and that's what it was.
So the CCW, that's one of the reasons we wanted to have the sheriff on, and we want to talk about it, is there are so many, there's so much misinformation about CCWs.
Exactly, yeah.
And some of it's well-deserved. I mean, they really have been pretty impossible to get for years. But we're trying to, educate and get the right information out
and
there.
then the other thing that we need to talk about, too, is if you do decide you want to get a CCW, they need to go to the San Diego County Gun Owners website and take that tutorial.
So let's talk about that. So we have the best resources, and they're all completely and totally free. If you go to SanDiegoCountyGunOwners.com/CCW or SDCGO.org/CCW, or just go to our homepage and click on CCW, you'll see a 15-minute video that walks you through the whole process, soup to nuts, your good cause, what documentations you need, all that good stuff. We have a good cause worksheet that walks you through how to write your good cause sentence by sentence. I mean, we truly are like baby feeding, spoon after spoon. This is exactly what you need to write.
The other thing, too, that adds to the confusion a little bit is it's different from county to county.
Yeah.
So there's 58 different counties in the state. Each county does it a little bit differently. So if you talk to someone, if you've got a friend in Orange County or in Riverside and they've got one, they'll tell you what they did, which is slightly different than what happens down here. So there's a little bit of confusion there. And there's an effort underway to kind of try to standardize all that stuff. So, hopefully that'll work here over the next couple of years.
By the way, it's $50 in Texas.
Yeah, I know. And you don't even have to...
You don't even come in and bring your money.
I know. Well, we're not there yet.
We're working on it.
But just 3 years ago, it was a big solid no. Now you can at least get it.
And a lot of that has to do with the efforts of San Diego County Gun Owners. If it hadn't been for you guys, we wouldn't be anywhere right now for CCW.
We had a lot of help, but San Diego County Gun Owners organized this effort, pushed this effort through. Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
We organized a lot of people to help us in a lot of ways. But I give credit to the sheriff. He's done a fantastic job. The Undersheriff Mike Barnett and his whole crew. Everybody's been fantastic. They are super helpful now. At the licensing department, I've got nothing but positive feedback. It's time. Get your CCW. Don't go another day without.
But go to the website, go through it. You can look at the video as many times as you like.
Yep.
Until you're comfortable with it. And I'm sure if you have any questions, you could send questions in.
Email us. But we also have free webinars via Zoom, and there's a calendar of those webinars on that webpage, www.SanDiegoCountyGunOwners.com/CCW.
How tough is the test? Or is there a test?
There's a written test. There's a performance test. You have to, like a marksman test. You have to prove that you can, use your gun. I wouldn't describe it as terribly difficult, but you got to know the material. And
that's what's good about the site.
It's not difficult. You're right. It's not difficult in the sense of they're trying to trick you.
Like a driver's test?
Yeah, you got to know the material. You got to know what's going on. But to the application, really, there's some hoops to jump through. But the days of people having problems are over. They've pretty much streamlined it. Anybody can do it. I've yet to see anybody that truly has no good cause.
Right.
So
you're not going to bother if you don't have a good cause.
Well, really, what it is that there's something about, unless you wake up in the morning, get out of bed, go sit on the couch and watch TV until it's time to go to bed again. Unless you're that person, you have good cause. There's something about your life.
So I can't go get my CCW.
That's all you do? Well, you're here at the radio station, right?
Yeah, but my TV is in my head. No, I'm only kidding. So renewal, what did it cost for renewal?
We just went through that, right? So,
no, but you didn't. I'm saying the renewal. We went through what did it cost to get a CCW.
It's pretty much the same thing because you still have to go.
Oh,
you've got to go through
again.
the class. Yeah, it's pretty much like doing it from scratch.
When does it expire? How often?
2 years. So the thing is good for 2 years. Every 2 years, you get to donate that money.
Is it tax deductible?
Not yet.
Not hardly. Not yet. We'll work on that one when the time comes. All right. Well, okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a small break. And when we come back, we still got
John Dillon.
A lot more with our good buddy John Dillon. Haven't talked to him in quite some time. This is FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Welcome back. You're listening to Gun Owners Radio on FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Thousands and thousands of pandemic panic buyers just found out what San Diego shooters already knew. A.O. Sword Firearms in El Cajon has the widest selection of guns in the county. A.O. Sword has hundreds of different new and used guns and everything you could want for an AR-15. Whether you're looking for the latest competition rifle, combat pistol, or collectible cowboy iron, you'll find it all at A.O. Sword. They are also professional gunsmiths with a full machine shop. They can clean, repair, upgrade, or even customize your gun, including Cerakote. A.O. Sword Firearms is located at 929 East Main Street, just off Mollison in El Cajon. Best of all, they are friendly, informed, and actively support your rights. See for yourself with their legal and technical updates on Facebook, but you can also check them out at aosword.com or call direct at 619-749-4867. Finally, my good buddy is on the line. We haven't talked to John Dillon in so long, and he's going to give us an update on the courts, his lawsuit, and where are we now that the 10th Second Amendment cases were rejected by the Supreme Court. Hey, John, how you doing, buddy?
Good, just waiting for those aliens to come to finish off the end of the world.
I think they're here next Thursday, so let's go to lunch on Wednesday.
They're
what do you
due,
think?
Right? We've done everything else. Now the aliens got to come.
Well, you appreciated paranoid there leading into your segment, right? So.
I'm a gun owner. I have to be paranoid.
Yeah. I know. Jeez Louise.
No, in all seriousness, doing good. Surviving, doing the thing, and working with gun owners and trying to make sure that they can get their guns when they desperately want and need them these days.
So how's the uphill battle going?
Well, unfortunately, there's not a lot of new stuff going on. So the two cases that I have right now in the Southern District of California are Jones v. Becerra, which is the challenge to the ban on gun sales to anyone under 21. And the other one is Miller v. Becerra, which is the assault weapon challenge. So the challenge fighting against California's ban on assault weapons, so can't have evil, scary grips and plastic things attached to your gun.
So the lawsuit that it's against the state for preventing adults who are under 21 from owning a firearm or buying a firearm, and then the assault weapons ban. Those are the two laws. So where are we with those? What's the status?
Well, yeah. So in both cases, we've submitted a preliminary injunction, arguing that each law is unconstitutional for various reasons, and though that preliminary injunction has been submitted in both cases to the court, and we're waiting on the decision by the judges in each case. So unfortunately, we are going through this COVID pandemic, and there's no question that it's affected the courts. The Southern District has issued a number of emergency orders and re-amended them over time, and because of that, certain cases are taking priority, or people are doing teleconferencing and video conferencing instead of showing up in person to hearings. Some have just been postponed for a long time until it's kind of over. In our cases, we are somewhat lucky in the sense that everything was kind of done and submitted to the court before the pandemic started and before all this craziness went out. So we're literally just waiting for the judges to write their decisions. And the fact that it's taking this long, it's not unheard of at all. It's only been a couple months, and I know that sounds crazy to people who are listening, but it's not crazy in the world of court decisions in the legal world. So it's not too bad.
Yeah, it might take years.
Yeah, this type of stuff, it does take a long time, and so the way I look at it, we're just in the waiting period, and once a decision is made, then that'll determine what happens. Hopefully those decisions will come in our favor. And then that kind of brings me to the next topic here. Regardless of what these decisions are, it's pretty clear that it's not just going to end there. If we get a preliminary injunction in our favor, it will likely be appealed by the state, and we'll start going up the ladder through the courts and through the Ninth Circuit and getting various appeals completed on this case or in these cases, and maybe you eventually get up to petitioning for review by the Supreme Court. And a lot of people are pretty knowledgeable now that they heard that the Supreme Court denied review of 10 different Second Amendment challenges, which was a big blow to the Second Amendment community. We were all hoping that, we'd get at least one case taken up, especially since the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association case was mooted out and remanded. So that was not fun, but, the analysis that's being, people are talking about it and they've given their analysis, but basically we have this. You only need 4 judges to accept a case for review by the United States Supreme Court. And right now we have 4 justices that, it's pretty predictable how they're going to side when it comes to a Second Amendment case. And you have 4 justices that we know are pretty, I'm not going to say anti-2A, but they have a different opinion on what the Second Amendment means. So that means you have one justice who could go either way, and that would probably be Justice Roberts. So because the courts right now, as it stands, they could have had enough justices to accept a case. I'm thinking that likely the swing vote is the uncertain vote, and the other justices aren't sure where he would fall when it comes to actually making a decision on a Second Amendment case. And do you really want to take a Second Amendment case? I think with the likelihood of your swing vote go in the other direction. I don't know.
Well,
it's pure speculation.
My question is, I mean, that'd be just like if somebody said, all right, Dave, I need you to do this. Nah, I don't want to do it. Isn't that their job to sit there and look at these cases, especially at something as important as Second Amendment issues? I'm just flabbergasted that they just decided not to look at it.
To give them a little credit here, hundreds and thousands of cases get petitioned to the Supreme Court for review every year, and they can only take so many cases. So they do have, the responsibility and, even pleasure of being able to pick which cases they want. Now, as Justice Thomas has put it in his dissenting opinions, the Second Amendment has become a constitutional orphan. And he says this because time and time again, we have these lower court decisions in the Court of Appeals which do not work with the decision in Heller and seem to kind of make up their own standard that was never applied in Heller. And Justice Thomas has made it clear, in his dissenting opinions in, not taking these Second Amendment cases that, they're not doing it right, and we need to step in and issue a new decision to provide guidance for the lower courts.
Fix it.
It's very clear that there's judges, I'd probably say there's 4 justices right now that really, really want to take up a Second Amendment case and issue a decision on that. But, you're going to need 5 to win. You need a 5-4 win. And if you can't get that 5th, maybe they're saying, well, if we can't make sure that we have another, constitutionalist that can interpret it the right way, maybe we need to wait until something happens and there's maybe a new justice.
So the 4 judges, so you're saying the 4 judges that it would have taken to hear one of the Second Amendment cases, the 4 judges were not confident that they had a 5th vote in order to get the right decision. So they said, you know what, we're not. If we're this unsure, we're not going to take the case because we don't want it to go the wrong way.
Yeah, it's pure speculation, but I say that because you also have 4 justices that lean on the other side and don't interpret the Second Amendment the same way, and so they still had enough to accept the case and rule the other way. So.
Well, they're probably equally unsure.
Exactly. So I think that the swing vote is it's so uncertain and no one's really comfortable taking a case when they can't at least predict, somewhat where this person's going to fall.
But, John, I may not be the sharpest pencil in the box, but how complicated is Second Amendment? I mean, it seems to me like it's written out pretty clear and pretty basic.
Yeah, shall not be infringed. I would interpret that as fairly strong language.
How could you change that? How could somebody say that see, that's the part that just boggles the mind.
Well, I'll put it this way. I was told this going into law school, and, I was excited to, take some constitutional law classes, and, the year, I think it's your second year when you take constitutional law. I was talking to an attorney and he tells me, he's like, oh, you're taking constitutional law. It's like, yeah, I'm kind of into it. I'm excited. I want to learn. And he's like, oh, get ready to learn about all the rights you don't have.
Yeah.
And it is a pessimistic way of looking at it, but it is, when you do study constitutional law and you get into that area of law, it does seem that many rights, not just the Second Amendment, but many rights have been watered down over the years. So, again, it's one of those things. I think it's very important, and especially in times like this, where, you got people rioting and burning courthouses down and pandemics going on and just a large amount of uncertainty going on. People should understand and know their rights, and I think this is one of those instances where, the Second Amendment, we've had more gun sales in the last couple of months than, ever. And, I personally, I went to a liberal college and in law school. I have a lot of very liberal friends that I'm known as the gun guy of our friend group. I'm the crazy gun nut. And I had a large number of those guys calling me and asking, okay, so how do I buy a gun? What do I need to do?
Yeah, right.
I have to wait 10 days? Why do I have to wait 10 days?
And they weren't even talking to you before because you're the crazy gun guy, right?
Yeah, so, I had the pleasure of being able to help my friends exercise their rights, and I think it's a good thing. You can differ from me politically and your opinions on a lot of stuff, but if you're going to want to exercise your rights, I think that's a fantastic and wonderful thing, regardless of who you're going to vote for. It's great to exercise your rights, all of them.
And after you have that debate, whether you agree or disagree, you can still go have a beer. But you can't do that now. You can't do that.
Have a beer and have a nice day. It's great.
You need to put a gun social together with all your liberal friends, and Michael put it together for you. There you
go. So we have the gun prom coming up.
You going to be there?
Yes, we have a table, and I wanted to put this out. How about the first 5 people to email my email address at my office, jdillon, Dillon, at dillonlawgp.com. You'll get a free seat at my table.
Whoa. You hear that? Okay, so repeat that. It's your email John at his work email address, which is
jdillon, Dillon, at dillonlawgp.com, and you'll get a free seat, first 5 people.
There you go.
And that's $100 a ticket, folks. So if you've never been to Gun Prom, this is a golden opportunity for you to. Hell, I've been trying to sell my seats, and now you're giving them away. What's
giving them away. Get to sit there for free with a Bill of Rights champion attorney at the event of the year. Somebody who stands. And I'm a big fan of not just the Second Amendment, but the entire Bill of Rights.
I am too.
Greed and sloth and
absolutely
the whole thing, all of them. So.
All right, John. Well, hey, thank you very much. It's so good to hear from you again. I know you're a busy guy, but we really love it when you call in. So, folks, whenever you have a gun issue, you do not touch a dial or do anything until you talk to John Dillon. Thanks again, buddy, and you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
All right, have a good one, guys. And email in for a seat.
You got it. Boy, well, that'd be cool. They're probably already emailing now. All right, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Gun Owners Radio on FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Welcome back. You are listening to Gun Owners Radio on FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
All right, folks. This segment is brought to you by Firearms Legal Protection. What's the best defense for self-defense in those horrible new red flag laws? Firearms Legal Protection. Mike, Joe, and I use them. Firearms Legal Protection is a legal defense program for lawful gun owners with a 24/7 emergency hotline and plans designed specifically for the firearms owner. Talk to the good folks at Firearms Legal Protection today. That's Firearms Legal Protection at firearmslegal.com. Or call them direct at 469-310-9100. 469-310-9100. Gun owners, be ready with a lawyer in your corner. This segment is brought to you by The Gun Range San Diego at 7853 Balboa Avenue in San Diego. Hours are Sunday through Thursday, 10 to 7, and 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday. Go to thegunrangesandiego.com. Normally we have our buddy Jason calling in, but he has not called in.
So we were talking to John about the Supreme Court and all the difficulties there. I thought that was really interesting.
Well, I'm a little bummed out. I mean, their job is their job, and it seems to me like the Constitution and our Second Amendment rights, especially nowadays, as convoluted as it is and as crazy as it is, it just seems to me like it's something that we really should be, getting on board and getting taken care of.
Well, and following on that, what we started to talk about during the break off air was, John's point that some of the justices, the 4, more constitutionalist justices were thinking that maybe this isn't the right time to do a Second Amendment case because you're not sure of the outcome.
Don't you think it's a perfect time to do it?
if you're sure of the outcome, yes, you don't want it to go the other way where we get a decision from the Supreme Court that goes wrong and then you have to live with that for 10 more years or something. But I was mentioning during the break, we were talking about an article I'd read a couple of weeks ago from the Powerline blog, which I've talked about before here. It's a great, just a great place for information. And there was an article on there about why does it seem so difficult for conservatives to pick justices that are reliable for the Supreme Court? Because if you look, Justice Roberts is a Bush appointee? Is that where he came from?
Yes, he was.
And
Bush number one, I believe, right?
I think so. Yeah, he's been there for a while. And yet they're not, he's considered now a swing vote, could go either way. And, as a conservative, I don't want to see them appoint justices that are going to rule conservatively all the time. What I want is justices that are going to rule according to the Constitution. And if they rule according to the Constitution, as a conservative, I'm going to be happy with it most of the time anyway. But it seems like on the left, what they end up doing is they put justices on there, and they do this in the lower courts as well, that are, I guess, social activists or whatever, or they rule in a way that they think is socially correct as opposed to what the Constitution says. And, from the conservative side, we should be able to get justices on there that don't do that rule according to the Constitution. And this article was just saying that it seems to be difficult for conservatives to reliably pick justices that do that. The liberals don't seem to have that problem.
Or it was Bush 2. I'm sorry. Roberts was under Bush 2, but just to clarify, it's crazy. I mean, it seems so straightforward.
That's what I think.
But and it really is. The Second Amendment is very, very clear and straightforward, which is why they have to go through. I mean, they really have to go through this whole rigmarole to explain why the founding fathers didn't mean what it says.
Well, see, and that's why I think we need a good, solid ruling on it. They want to do this correctly, because all of these laws, like all these goofy laws that we have here in California, and you see it, across the other bad states, all of these laws infringe on your right to keep and bear arms. And I think the Supreme Court has to make a strong ruling saying you can't do any of this stuff.
You can't do that.
And I think that's what it needs, because otherwise it's going to be just a piecemeal. It'll be like it is now.
Hey. Everybody told me that back in 2008 that Heller versus D.C. was going to do exactly that. That was the decision. And everybody, woohoo, threw their hands up in the air, and nothing happened.
Well, see, and hopefully they can learn from that mistake.
Oh, please.
And make a more strong or a stronger statement when they actually do rule on one of these things. Because I have to be optimistic. I think they want to. I think they want to do it correctly. It's just I think they need the right venue or the right vehicle to do that on. And maybe these 10 things that were there, this time they didn't think any of them were exactly the right one to do it on, or they weren't sure.
Give me
again
my
about
eggs
that.
Back. Okay. Not to change subject, but I just realized I've had 2 questions, one from July 19th and one today from a listener.
All right.
And I keep forgetting to tell you. Back in July 19th, he said of all crimes with guns, what percentage are committed by legal gun owners?
I don't know right off the top of my head, but it's teeny tiny small.
Okay. The second.
It's basically the majority.
Minuscule.
Yeah, the majority of people who, I should say, the majority of murder or homicides where a firearm is involved are the vast majority are career criminals who obtain their firearm illegally and are engaged in some other crime, so a drug deal or a robbery, something like that, and they're career criminals. This isn't their first day. And then there's a very small percentage of homicides that are defensive gun use, like someone defending themselves. There's a teeny tiny little itty bitty percentage that are an accident, something like that. And then there's somewhere around 45%, something like that, are suicides.
Right. Next question he had was, how about...
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. About 60%, right?
Yeah, it depends on how you look at it, because if you're saying homicide, that's a CDC term, and they include
Everything.
killing a human with a gun.
Right.
If you watch the FBI numbers, they talk murders,
Right.
where it's intentionally killing someone with a gun. So they're a little bit different.
But the suicides are, I see what you're saying. So it's, but a little over half of people who die and a gun's involved in the United States every year, a little over half are suicides.
Crazy. Also, how about an update on the magazine ban? Do we have any latest news?
Sure. Well, the magazine ban, of course, the magazine ban was a part of Prop 63, and that was voted into law. And part of it was already illegal to import and buy or sell magazines that held more than 10 rounds in California. It was already illegal. There's a couple other laws. This law, Prop 63, further made it illegal, went a little bit further and made it illegal to actually possess a magazine, no matter how you obtained it, that held more than 10 rounds. So the Judge Benitez, Saint Benitez, said, nope, that's we're going to put an injunction on that. We're going to put an injunction on it. And then he had to reverse his own decision. He had to put a stay on his own injunction. So we had, of course, a week of the ability to buy normal capacity magazines. And right now it's legal to own magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. You still can't buy them. You can't import them. You can't sell them in California. You also can't take possession of them. So, Joe, if you had a 15-round magazine and you said, here, Mike, here's a gift, a 15-round magazine, I could not take ownership of that, so it's not just a ban on buy and sell. It's also a ban on transfers in that manner,
which isn't a problem for us because we all own 15-round magazines that we bought during our legal freedom week. So all of ours are fine.
Or prior. I mean, I've had 15-round mags since prior to 2000. So, yeah.
So I just got another. What am I, the social darling of Gun Owners Radio?
Exactly.
A caller or a listener wants to know what's the update on the micro stamping bill, which was opposing AB 2847, an attempt to legitimize California's failed micro stamping requirement.
So the micro stamping, right now you have to, in order to get a brand new firearm on the roster of Safe Firearms so that FFLs can sell that firearm within California, the firearm has to have a serial number on the firing pin. It has to stamp it on the casing. What they are attempting to do is they're actually attempting to ease that and say, all right, well, it doesn't have to be. I'm really dumbing this down, by the way, because we have like a minute for me to explain this, and it takes way longer than that. But now that this new bill is basically saying, okay, well, it doesn't have to be that complicated. It can just be like a very small, serial number, and it doesn't have to be on two different places on the casing. That way, because they know that the technology doesn't exist to do that, so they're trying to make it to where the technology does exist. The trade-off is if you do invent that and get a gun onto the roster, two guns have to be pulled off. Two or three guns?
Three, I believe.
Three guns have to be pulled off the roster to put that new compliant gun on the roster. It passed. It's not written into law yet, but so far it's making its way through the legislature. Once it's in the legislature, it's too late, guys. We have no influence.
No influence. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We still have another hour of Gun Owners Radio on FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
This program is sponsored by Dave Stahl.